Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to break down complex topics using solid source material, making it all digestible and clear for you.
Exactly. And today, wow, we've got a big one. John Cena.
He really is monumental, isn't he? We're talking about a career that just explodes across so many areas. Pro wrestling legend, obviously, Hollywood star, music, and philanthropy on a scale that's, well, it's kind of mind-blowing.
It really is. And you can't just look at him as, an athlete or an actor separately. Our sources paint this picture of a carefully, meticulously built cultural figure,
Right.
someone who reinvented himself multiple times. I mean, think about it. College football player, bodybuilder, then this sort of prototype wrestler.
Then the rapper.
Yeah, the doctor of thugonomics.
Right.
Then, for nearly 2 decades, the ultimate good guy, the face of the company. And now, well, now this final twist as the villain. It's quite a journey.
It really is, and our sources are pretty extensive here, tracking all those records, the creative shifts, his global reach. So our mission, our goal today, is to really unpack those key eras. Figure out what made his WWE dominance so effective, but also so polarizing, right?
Definitely polarizing.
Then look at how that Hollywood transition actually happened, how it worked. And crucially, understand the sheer scale of his charity work, especially Make-A-Wish.
And you have to see it all through the lens of where he ended up, right? Becoming that 17-time world champion, but only after turning heel and ending his own, Guinness World Record for being a hero.
Yeah, that 2025 heel turn is the key, isn't it? It sort of forces you to re-examine everything that came before.
Absolutely. That whole hustle, loyalty, respect mantra. We need to see how his actual background fed into that character and maybe why that character eventually had to, die for the story to conclude.
Okay, let's lay that foundation then. Where does it all begin?
West Newbury, Massachusetts, April 23, 1977.
And the surprising part, looking at the sources, is how grounded his early life seems.
Yeah.
Compared to the larger-than-life persona later. Very practical, academic even.
That's a great point. It's often overlooked. His physical resilience, which became such a trademark, it wasn't just toughness, it was informed.
Informed how?
Well, he went to Central Catholic High School, then Cushing Academy, and then Springfield College, graduated in '99. His degree, exercise physiology and kinesiology.
Okay. So he actually studied the science behind physical performance.
Exactly. He was even an NCAA Division III All-American center on the football team captain. This isn't your typical backstory for a future WWE champion.
So that hustle part, it wasn't just a slogan. It was built on, actual knowledge of training, recovery.
Right, which helps explain, his incredible longevity later on and those almost unbelievable recovery times from serious injuries. He understood his body.
But the discipline was there before the money, apparently.
Definitely. Post-college, he was into bodybuilding, yeah, but he was also working regular jobs. Sources say he drove a limousine for a bit.
Really? A limo driver?
Yeah, and worked at Gold's Gym, in the store area, for supposedly $6 an hour. So that hustle, that work ethic, it feels like it came from a place of real necessity. He had to grind.
And that grind eventually led him to wrestling. California, 1999. Ultimate Pro Wrestling's training school.
UPW's Ultimate University, yeah. And his first gimmick, the prototype.
Sounds functional.
It was. Semi-robotic, kind of presented as flawless. He even held their title, the UPW Heavyweight Championship, back in 2000. But it shows how wrestlers often start with something that doesn't quite land,
Lack the personality.
Totally. Technically sound, maybe, but not the charisma you need for the big leagues. Still, that technical skill got him noticed.
WWE developmental deal in 2001. Ohio Valley Wrestling, OVW.
And this is where things get really interesting historically. Because OVW at that time,
wow. Yeah, the talent pool was insane.
it's almost hard to believe, right? Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Dave Bautista, all there training together. That OVW4, as they're sometimes called.
This has been intense.
Imagine that environment, pushing each other every single day. Cena won titles there too, heavyweight, tag team. But the real development was probably just surviving that level of competition.
So he makes the main roster. June 2002, answers Kurt Angle's open challenge, famously declares ruthless aggression.
But he's still pretty generic at this point, right? Just an athletic good guy.
Exactly. The character that really launched him, that came later. And apparently it was almost an accident.
Yeah, the origin story is classic wrestling lore. He's kind of floundering, maybe a few months in.
Right.
And the story goes, he's on a tour bus, long ride, just messing around, freestyling some raps.
Just for fun.
Yeah, apparently. And Stephanie McMahon overhears him, Paul Heyman, too, some versions say, and they just instantly see it.
See what?
That this sarcastic, kind of arrogant, funny, white rapper persona, that was the unique hook he needed. It was the perfect contrast to the bland babyface.
Wow. So a random freestyle session boasts the doctor of thugonomics.
Pretty much. And it was exactly what wrestling needed at that moment, post-Attitude Era. It gave him a voice, an identity.
And he went full heel with it.
Oh, yeah. The throwback jerseys, the hats, the chain, the padlock, and those raps. They were edgy, sometimes controversial, but man, they got him noticed.
So that villain run in 2002, 2003, that was crucial.
Absolutely essential. It made him a major player, a guy people love to hate. And that set the stage perfectly for the huge, heroic turn that would eventually define him. You gotta be the bad guy sometimes before you can be the ultimate good guy, right, mate?
Makes sense. And that thugonomics persona definitely had legs. WrestleMania X, 2004. He beats Big Show for the U.S. title.
His first singles gold on the main roster, and what does he do immediately?
Introduces the spinner belt.
Exactly. That custom spinner U.S. title. It was such a statement piece. Flashy, kind of brash, totally tapped into hip-hop culture at the time, made him instantly connect with a younger audience.
But even then, early on, they had to use some storyline trickery for his outside projects.
You're talking about the Carlito feud.
Yeah, the kayfabe stabbing.
Right. So he loses the U.S. title to Carlito. And then, to write him off TV so he could film the Marine, they ran an angle where he supposedly got stabbed in a nightclub by Carlito's bodyguard.
Sounds pretty dramatic. Why do it that way?
Well, it worked on a few levels, gave him the time off he needed for the movie, obviously, generated instant sympathy for his character. The hero gets taken out unfairly.
Ah, okay.
And then when he comes back seeking revenge relatively quickly, it reinforces that he's tough, resilient, untouchable almost. It laid the groundwork for that whole never give up thing before it was even a catchphrase.
Smart storytelling. And when he came back, he was clearly positioned for the top spot.
Absolutely primed. WrestleMania 21, he beats JBL, wins his first WWE championship. And from that point on, he's the guy.
The top face, the main hero of the company.
And not just for a little while. This is where it gets historic. Our sources confirm he was continuously a heroic character, a face, from basically late 2003 right up until that heel turn in early 2025.
How long is that again?
You get this. 7,786 days. Wow.
It's a Guinness World Record. Longest continuous run as a heroic character in WWE. Think about maintaining that persona, that image of integrity, for over 20 years of constant travel performance. It's staggering commitment.
But, okay, let's be real. That commitment, that long run, it wasn't universally loved.
Oh, not even close.
Oh.
Hugely polarizing is the term.
The sources talk about praise for his character work, his promos, connecting with kids, but also constant criticism, perceived overrepresentation, on-screen dominance.
He became the ultimate lightning rod, didn't he? On one hand, he was incredibly successful with families, kids loved him, merchandise sales were through the roof.
Right, the bright colors, the slogans.
But on the other hand, a large chunk of the older, maybe more hardcore audience, they really resented him.
Why do you think?
They felt he was, Super Cena, always winning, overcoming impossible odds. They felt his dominance kind of stifled other wrestlers they preferred, guys who maybe had a more edgy attitude era vibe.
And the crowd reactions could get really nasty. Oh, yeah. The prime example is ECW One Night Stand 2006. He loses the title to Rob Van Dam in front of this super hostile ECW crowd.
I remember seeing clips. It looked brutal.
It was intense. Chants, signs saying, if Cena wins, we riot. People throwing stuff. It wasn't just playful booing. It felt like genuine hatred from that specific audience.
But WWE kind of leaned into it, didn't they?
They absolutely did. They realized the division itself was good for business. Half the crowd loves him passionately. The other half hates him passionately. Everyone pays to see what happens. It guaranteed huge reactions, win or lose.
This era also cemented his in-ring style, which also drew its fair share of criticism. The 5 moves of doom.
Ah, yes, the infamous sequence.
Break it down for us. Why was it so controversial?
Okay, so it became this predictable sequence in most of his big matches. Flying shoulder block, another flying shoulder block, then the sit-out hip toss, which he called the proto-bomb.
Okay.
Then the 5-knuckle shuffle, taunt, and fist drop. And finally, the finishing move, the attitude adjustment.
So very repetitive.
Exactly. Critics argued it lacked creativity, technical skill, especially compared to guys like, well, his OVW classmates or later rivals like CM Punk. It felt formulaic.
But was it effective?
From a storytelling perspective,
Mm.
absolutely. That predictability built massive anticipation for the opponent kicking out of the finisher. And for the younger audience WWE was courting, it was easy to follow, easy to get excited about. Simple, clear, heroic comeback.
And the names of those moves?
Yeah.
They even had to change, right? Because of a bigger company shift.
That's right. Around 2008, WWE shifted from its edgier TV-14 rating to a more family-friendly TV PG rating.
Okay.
So his original finisher, the FU, which was kind of a playful shot at Brock Lesnar's F5, that wasn't going to fly in the PG era.
Makes sense.
So it became the attitude adjustment, and his submission hold, the STFU, shortened to just the STF. It was all part of sanitizing the product, making it more advertiser-friendly. And Cena, as the top guy, was central to that rebranding.
His look changed too, moving away from the rapper gear.
Yeah, especially after filming The Marine in 2006. The jerseys and baggy shorts started disappearing.
Replaced by
Dog tags, cargo shorts, and incorporating that military salute as a sign of respect for the armed forces, it all cemented that image. Patriotic, wholesome, the ultimate role model for the PG-era audience.
Okay, one more thing from this era.
Hmm.
His toughness. Those injury returns. They seemed almost superhuman.
They really did. It almost felt like part of the storyline, but it was real. Two major ones stand out.
God.
2007, he tears his pectoral muscle completely off the bone. That's usually, 9 months, maybe a year out. He had been champion for 380 days, had to vacate the title.
And he came back in?
Less than 4 months.
No way.
Yes. His surprise return at the 2008 Royal Rumble, entering at number 30 and winning the whole thing. Nobody saw it coming. It was one of the biggest pops, biggest reactions ever.
That's insane recovery.
And he did it again later that year with a serious neck injury, needing surgery, came back way faster than expected again. There's that ESPN quote comparing his recovery to, experimental therapies.
Yeah.
Deadpool.
Okay.
It just highlights how his ability to heal quickly became legendary. It perfectly reinforced that never give up persona. It wasn't just words, he lived it physically.
Moving into the 2010s, we get some really interesting storylines. The Nexus angle was a big one.
Oh, yeah. That was fascinating because it put Cena in a position we'd never seen him in. Forced subservience.
Right. He lost that match to Wade Barrett at Hell in a Cell in 2010. The stipulation was he had to join Nexus if he lost.
Which he did. So suddenly the ultimate hero is part of this destructive, villainous faction. It created this great internal conflict for his character.
How could he be loyal to Nexus while still being, well, John Cena?
Exactly. That was the drama. And of course, he couldn't maintain it. He eventually defies Barrett, costs him the WWE title at Survivor Series.
Which led to him being fired, kayfabe style.
Right. But his response was pure Cena character work. Does he just leave? No. He starts showing up anyway, invading Raw, taking out Nexus members one by one, completely outside the company structure.
Still embodying hustle, loyalty, respect, even when unemployed.
Precisely. Until they had no choice but to rehire him. It was a clever way to reinforce his core values, even through a period of storyline humiliation.
This decade also gave us the feuds that really defined WWE's business at the time. The Rock and CM Punk. Let's start with The Rock.
That was just massive. A spectacle on a whole different level.
They announced the main event for WrestleMania XC8 a full year in advance, right? Once in a lifetime.
Unprecedented at the time. It showed incredible confidence, pitting their current top star, Cena, against arguably the biggest crossover star wrestling had ever produced, The Rock, returning home.
And the numbers were huge.
Record-breaking. WrestleMania 28 did something like 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, highest-grossing live event in WWE history up to that point, nearly $9 million gate. Just enormous business.
And Cena lost that first match.
He did. Which set up the rematch the following year, WrestleMania 29, Greatness versus Redemption.
And that did even better.
Grossed even more money live, immediately broke the record set the year before. It proved that Cena, win or lose, was the engine driving WWE's biggest possible successes. He was the constant.
So the Rock feud was the blockbuster spectacle. What about CM Punk?
If Rock was the spectacle, Punk was the critical darling. Their feud, especially in the match at Money in the Bank 2011 in Chicago.
Yeah.
That's legendary for different reasons.
Why that match specifically?
It received the coveted 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer newsletter.
Explain why that 5-star rating matters so much in wrestling circles.
It's basically the gold standard for critical acclaim. It signifies near perfection in terms of in-ring work, storytelling, crowd reaction, emotional depth, everything coming together.
And Cena getting that rating was significant.
Hugely significant, because Cena, often faced criticism for his ring work being basic. Getting a 5-star match, especially against a technical master like Punk, proved he could absolutely deliver at the highest artistic level when the story demanded it. It silenced a lot of critics, at least temporarily. He won Match of the Year awards for both the Punk and Rock bouts, actually.
Okay, fast forward a bit to 2015, the U.S. Championship Open Challenge. This felt different.
It really did. It felt like Cena consciously using his main event status to elevate others.
How did it work?
During his 4th run with the U.S. title, he basically said, anyone in the back wants a shot, come get it. Every week on Raw, he'd defend the title against whoever stepped up.
And we got some great matches out of it.
Fantastic matches against guys like Dean Ambrose, Cesaro, Sami Zayn even got a shot early on. Kevin Owens debuted against him. It really showcased the depth of the roster and gave these guys a huge platform.
Sounds purely positive. But the sources mentioned some criticism about the long-term effect. Devil's advocate time.
Yeah, there's a valid critique there. While the matches themselves were often excellent, the analysis, particularly from folks like Will Pruitt, pointed out that Cena usually won the feud in the end.
So the challenger gets a great match, maybe even a surprise win.
Right, like Kevin Owens beat Cena clean in their first match, which was huge. But then Cena won the next 2 encounters. So the argument is, while these guys got elevated temporarily, they often ended up still positioned definitively below Cena.
So did the Open Challenge ultimately fail to build new main eventers because Cena always had to come out on top eventually? Was it more about reinforcing Cena's resilience yet again?
That's the crux of the debate, isn't it? It highlights that tension in the Cena era. He was so valuable, such a draw, the company arguably couldn't afford for him to lose too much or look weak for long. So opponents got the rub, but maybe not the final push over the top. Commercial reality versus narrative potential, perhaps.
And physically, he was still pushing through incredible pain during this time, that broken nose.
Oh, yeah. July 2015, match against Seth Rollins for the U.S. title. Rollins hits him with a knee, just shatters his nose. It looked horrific.
But he finished the match.
Of course he did. Blood everywhere, nose clearly mangled, but he finished the match and won. That image, that moment, it was pure Cena. Physical proof that never give up wasn't just marketing. It was his reality in that role.
That toughness, that commitment.
Yeah.
It definitely helped pave the way for Hollywood, didn't it? Though his path was maybe a bit different.
Yeah, early on, it was mostly WWE Studios films like The Marine, 12 Rounds, action stuff. But the real turning point for his acting career came when he shifted gears.
Towards comedy.
Exactly. Deliberately choosing roles in comedies like Trainwreck in 2015 and especially Blockers in 2018. That was huge for him.
Why was comedy the key? He's a big action-looking guy.
Because it showed range. It proved he wasn't just a muscle-bound action hero. He had comedic timing, he could be vulnerable, self-deprecating. Blockers in particular really opened Hollywood's eyes. It showed he could be funny and sensitive.
And that led to bigger things.
Absolutely. Leading roles in Bumblebee, joining the Fast Saga in F9 as Jacob Toretto, Dom's brother, and then landing his own critically acclaimed TV series, Peacemaker, starting in 2022, that showed he could carry a complex character and a major series.
He really did become that monocultural crossover star, the New York Times called him, following guys like Hogan, Austin, The Rock, maybe the last one.
It's possible. In today's fractured media world, it's so hard for one person to be everywhere, recognized by everyone. Cena managed it. But being that global, it comes with pressures.
Like the F9 incident in China?
Precisely. During the promotional tour in 2021, he referred to Taiwan as the country, which is politically very sensitive territory regarding mainland China's policy.
And the reaction.
Immediate backlash online. And very quickly, Cena posted an apology video on Weibo, a major Chinese social media platform speaking fluent Mandarin.
Wow, fluent Mandarin.
Yeah, he'd been learning it for years to help WWE's expansion efforts. But the apology itself, saying he made a mistake and loved and respected China. It showed the tightrope global stars have to walk now, balancing personal expression, political realities, and massive international box office stakes.
Beyond acting, he kept up other interests too. Music.
Yep, his rap album, You Can't See Me, back in 2005, actually did pretty well. Hit number 15 on the Billboard 200 chart. He did it with his cousin, Ty Trademark.
And that musicality popped up later, unexpectedly.
Right, in Peacemaker. Turns out he's a self-taught pianist. There's a great scene where he plays this really heartfelt version of Mötley Crüe's Home Sweet Home. It added this surprising layer to the character and to Cena himself.
He seemed to be everywhere in media, too. Hosting shows.
Hosted American Grit for a couple of seasons, hosted the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards 2 years running, and then there was the 2024 Oscars.
Ah, yes, the near-nude appearance.
Huh. Yeah, presenting the award for Best Costume Design while wearing, well, basically just sandals in the results envelope strategically placed. It was a callback to a famous streaker incident from decades ago.
Whiskey.
But hilarious. It showed he didn't take himself too seriously, willing to do almost anything for a comedic bit. That kind of thing helps you stay relevant in pop culture.
Okay, but amidst all the wrestling, acting, music, comedy, there's one aspect of his career that stands completely apart. His philanthropy, specifically Make-A-Wish.
This is absolutely central to understanding Cena's legacy. It's not just a side thing, it's defining.
The numbers are just hard to comprehend.
Over 650 wishes granted for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, for children facing critical illnesses.
Say it's 150.
And to put that in perspective, Guinness World Records confirmed it in 2022. They noted the person in second place had granted fewer than 200 wishes.
That gap is enormous. What does it take to grant that many wishes?
It takes an unbelievable amount of time, dedication, and prioritizing it above almost everything else. These aren't just quick meet and greets. It often means spending real quality time, talking with the kids, being that larger-than-life hero for them. It requires constant travel coordination, emotional energy. It's a staggering level of personal commitment over 2 decades.
It almost provides a kind of moral shield, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. No matter what his on-screen character does, no matter the controversies or criticisms, that real-world impact is undeniable and unparalleled. It anchors his entire legacy in something genuinely good.
And speaking of legacy and branding, let's touch on those catchphrases and quirks again. Hustle, loyalty, respect, never give up, the salute.
Those are the core tenets, yeah. The salute became his way of acknowledging the military connection. But the origin of his most famous taunt, "You can't see me," is way funnier.
I heard it involved his brother.
That's the story. Apparently, his younger brother dared him to do the yayo dance, which was a thing back then, but in reverse, while waving his hand in front of his face like, "You can't see me." It's just a silly dare.
Yeah. Cena thought it was funny, did it on TV, and it just exploded. Became this huge global taunt, instantly recognizable, came from just messing around with his brother.
That's amazing. And his willingness to try things, like learning Mandarin, that led to other unexpected internet fame.
Like the Bing chilling meme.
Right, explain that one. So he's posting videos in Mandarin on social media, part of that effort to connect with the Chinese market. In one video, he's enthusiastically eating ice cream and saying "冰淇淋," which means ice cream.
Okay.
But the way he said it, combined with his intense delivery, it got misheard or memed as "Bing chilling." It went viral, completely separate from its original context. Just another example of his weird global reach.
And one last weird footnote. The Ford GT lawsuit.
Oh yeah, that was bizarre. Ford sued him back in 2017. Why? Because he bought one of their very limited edition Ford GT supercars.
Okay, rich guy buys expensive car. So what?
But the contract stipulated buyers had to keep the car for at least 2 years to prevent people from immediately flipping them for a profit. And Cena sold his early.
Oops.
Yeah. They settled the lawsuit, Cena apologized, and Ford apparently donated the settlement money to charity. So even a legal hiccup ended up having a charitable outcome somehow.
Which brings us pretty much up to date. The final chapter. July 2024, he announces the end is near. Retirement from full-time wrestling at the end of 2025.
Sets up the big farewell tour. Everyone expects maybe some emotional goodbyes, passing the torch.
But that's not what happened.
Not at all. Elimination Chamber 2025, he wins a match, earns a title shot, and then brutally attacks Cody Rhodes, the guy who's basically the new top babyface.
Then aligns with The Rock and Travis Scott.
Exactly. A full, undeniable, shocking heel turn, his first time being a villain since way back in 2003.
And just like that, the Guinness World Record, 7,786 days as a hero gone.
Proof. Ended by his own actions.
Why do it? Why throw away that decades-long heroic identity right at the very end?
Drama. Impact. Closure, maybe. As a hero, what mountains were left for him to climb? By turning heel, aligning with the biggest star on the planet in The Rock, betraying the new hero, he instantly became the biggest possible antagonist for his final storyline. Maximum heat, maximum attention.
And that final storyline led him to WrestleMania 41.
Where he achieved that one last goal. winning the undisputed WWE Championship, beating Roman Reigns, becoming a record-setting 17-time world champion,
Tying Ric Flair's recognized record.
officially surpassing it in WWE's eyes. And the promos he cut after winning, they were something else.
How so?
Just dripping with bitterness and arrogance, criticizing the fans for booing him all those years, saying they never appreciated his sacrifice, vowing to, quote, ruin wrestling. It was the complete opposite of the Cena we knew for 20 years.
Almost like letting out 2 decades of pent-up frustration.
It felt like that. It added this really complex, almost cynical layer to his entire career right as it was ending, made you rethink everything.
So when you look back at the whole career, how do his peers view him, the people in the industry?
Overwhelmingly positive. You hear guys like Kurt Angle, Paul Heyman, JBL, legends themselves, calling him flat out the greatest professional wrestler of all time.
That's high praise.
And Vince McMahon called him the Babe Ruth of WWE, comparing him to the iconic American sports figure. That tells you the kind of impact they feel he had, both in the ring and as a global ambassador.
And the media perspective, like that New York Times quote about him being maybe the last monocultural crossover star.
I think that's really insightful. Hogan, Austin, Rock, Cena, they reached a level of mainstream fame, cutting across all demographics. That feels almost impossible today with media being so fragmented. Cena might really be the last of that breed. Kids knew him from WWE and Nickelodeon. Adults knew him from movies and shows like Peacemaker.
Yeah.
He was just everywhere.
And the business impact is undeniable. Those WrestleMania records with The Rock.
Consecutive years setting new benchmarks for live gate revenue and PPV buys at the time, his presence absolutely guaranteed massive commercial success for WWE's biggest events.
And summing it all up, what's the legacy?
It's defined by, I think, incredible longevity, that unbelievable physical resilience and this constant adaptability. He fully committed to that hustle, loyalty, respect brand for decades, even learning Mandarin for the company.
Right.
He turned dedication into just ubiquity, being everywhere all the time.
Okay, so let's recap the highlights. Records galore, 17 world titles, 5 U.S. titles, Match of the Year awards, business records.
But then there's the other side. Over 650 Make-A-Wish grants. That 7,786-day run as a hero, those almost seem bigger in a way.
I feel different, yeah. More personal.
And that final heel turn just throws a fascinating curveball into how we process all of it. It complicates the narrative beautifully.
Which leads us to the final thought, the question we want to leave you, the listener, with.
Go for it.
Okay. Given John Cena's genuinely unprecedented record of philanthropy, the 650-plus wishes, the real-world good he championed for so long, how do you reconcile that legacy with this final on-screen persona? The one claiming to ruin wrestling, the one criticizing the very fans who fueled his career. Was that final heel turn a betrayal of the hustle, loyalty, respect legacy? Or was it maybe just a necessary, dramatic, even maybe a cathartic way to finally close the book on the story of the last true crossover star? Proving that sometimes even the ultimate hero needs to become the villain to finally exit the stage.
Something to definitely think about.
Absolutely. Ponder that one as you process this deep dive.